together, and you guys did it for our the President Obama's administration before this. We have put together, I think, the most extensive and inclusive voter fraud organization in the history of American politics.
Hey everybody, it's the guy from Drinking Gourd, coming to you with just some information I think you need to hear. We all need to know. We know that the fix is in, and these two videos prove it. Let's get into it.
Well, I mean, obviously there's not a question about whether or not they have free and fair elections in the United States. Why would they? Why would you think that they did? They interfere with elections all around the world. They interfere with the election just recently in South Africa. They interfere with elections in Georgia. They interfere with elections everywhere they go. They subvert democracy all around the world. What makes you think that they wouldn't subvert democracy right there at home? Of course they do. Well, I think that they interfere and subvert democracy in their own country more effectively and more comprehensively than they're even able to do it in other countries. And we know that they're able to do it in other countries extremely well and extremely effectively and get the results that they want. So do you think that they're not going to ensure that they get the results that they want in their own country? Of course they do. You'd be naive to think that they don't. They didn't just find out that Joe Biden has experienced cognitive decline. They didn't just find out that the man has dementia. All of those people in the Democratic Party who were pushing for him to step down or pushing for him to not seek re-election, they've been interacting with him. They've been talking to him. They know perfectly well that the man has lost his mind, and they've been knowing that for 4 years, and they didn't mind. This isn't about wanting him to step down or wanting him to step aside because they think that he's not competent. No one ever thought he was competent. What it's about is that you know that when your own people, your own Democrats, your own liberals are making fun of Joe Biden online, on social media, on television, in the mainstream media, and so on, the man has become a laughingstock. That means that him winning in a rigged election wouldn't be plausible. No one would believe that. It was barely believable even in 2020. So there's no way that you could get people to actually believe that Democrats turned out in significant enough numbers to give Joe Biden a victory in 2024. He was asked to step down or asked to step aside because the Democratic Party knows that if they want to sell their appointed president to the public as if they were democratically elected, there has to be some degree of plausibility to that. You see, if they could have, they would have given the Democratic Alliance in South Africa the full victory, but it wasn't plausible. So there has to be some degree of believability. I don't think Kamala Harris is any more popular than Joe Biden, and she's not much of a better speaker. It's a choice between Kamala Harris, who always sounds like she's a little bit drunk, or Joe Biden, who sounds like he's in a perpetual fugue state. However, with Kamala Harris, you have certain factors that will be very appealing to the liberal base, to the Democratic base, that allow you to craft a narrative that makes her victory plausible, regardless of whether she gets the votes or not. If she's appointed as the winner in a rigged, unfree, unfair election, which is what you have in the United States, because, as I say, that's what the United States tries to ensure you have everywhere else in the world. So you better believe that they make sure that in their own country, it's just as controlled and managed a process as it is a controlled and managed process anywhere else in the world that the U.S. has a hand in it. So when they appoint the candidate whom they want to win, whom they've decided to win, who the oligarchs have decided should win, they need there to be some democratic plausibility to that win to make people think, either make people think that yes, they did this candidate did in fact win, or you make such a convincing and coercive and manipulative narrative around that candidate that no one will admit that they didn't vote for that candidate. In other words, she's going to be the first woman president. Well, wouldn't you be ashamed of yourself if you didn't vote to break the presidential glass ceiling? She's a woman of color. Well, wouldn't you be ashamed to say that you didn't vote for a woman of color? Well, that would make you a racist. If you don't vote for her, then the only two reasons that could possibly be is because she's a woman and she's a woman of color. So that means you're a misogynist and you're a racist. So you can craft a narrative around her that everyone will want to say that they voted for her, even if they didn't turn out to vote at all. Because we're going to hear nothing for the next 3 months except how excited the Democrats are, how reinvigorated they are, and how thrilled and breathless with anticipation the American people are for being able to finally achieve this first woman presidency in the United States. Everyone is excited about it. So therefore, when she is appointed as the president, if that's what happens, when she is appointed as the president, everyone can believe that the hype got her elected, even if no one shows up at the voting booth. And when everyone starts cheering in triumph and applauding and congratulating themselves for being so progressive and so liberal as to elect the first woman president and the first woman of color as president, well, no one will be willing to say that they never voted for her. So it's a very, you have a lot of strategies that you can use to convince people that it's either believable that she won or it's unthinkable that you would deny that she won. So I don't know if that's what's going to happen, but I don't for a second believe that they have free and fair elections in the United States, and I think you'd be a fool to believe that. So you either have, as someone said on Twitter or X, someone said, well, whose narrative do you think is going to win? Because that's all it comes down to is the narrative. You don't have to have a candidate who can actually get voter turnout. You don't have a candidate who can actually win. You don't need that. Narratives win elections, not candidates and not policies. And what I mean by that is not that the one who has the best narrative will win, but the one who has the best narrative that makes their win plausible, that makes people think that it could have actually happened through a legitimately democratic process, which isn't something that occurs in the United States. So someone asked the question, whose narrative will win in the end? Trump's narrative of I'm bulletproof, or Kamala Harris's narrative of I'm going to be the first black woman president? Well, the answer to that question, when you're talking about American politics and American society, is which narrative will people feel ashamed not to subscribe to? I think that this election is really going to show, even more clearly than everything else that we've seen over the course of the genocide in Gaza, I think that this election is going to show very clearly the battle between the OCGFC, the global-minded OCGFC, and the OCGFC who are affiliated with the neocons. This is a battle between the two, because I think that the globally oriented OCGFC are more likely to support Donald Trump, and the neocons are more likely to support Kamala Harris. So we'll just have to wait and see which set of oligarchs get their way.
Wow. The fix is in. Okay. If you really don't believe that our elections are not rigged, just think back to when it's really became evident was back in the time of Barack Obama, this second term, when he was up against Mitt Romney. The same thing started happening, and were really being noticed how these ballots were coming in the middle of the night. The same thing happened in 2012, and for them to not get away with it in 2016, I think it had much to do with the Republican turnout and how so many people turned out for Donald Trump. They weren't prepared for it, but they were prepared for it in 2020. And they sure as heck are prepared for it in 2024. Now, they've thrown in a new wrinkle. They've thrown in the illegal immigrants and getting them the right to vote. This is the other side of the coin. This is the other leg that they have put in because they've lost the black vote, but they can fill that in with the immigrant vote and then tax them on to boot. Watch this next video.
I come from a company that is dedicated to registering Hispanic people so they can vote in upcoming elections. Are you already registered? We already voted. You already voted? Yes. Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered or?
Yeah.
Are you a citizen or?
No.
Have you already been registered at work? Yes, we have. You've already been registered? Are you a citizen or not a citizen?
No es.
The apartment complex Elliott Norcross in Norcross, Georgia, is occupied primarily by non-citizens. We visited the complex to ask residents 2 questions. Are you a citizen, and are you registered to vote? Shockingly, 14% of respondents admitted to being non-citizens registered to vote.
Buenas, disculpe por molestar. Venimos con una organización que se dedica a registrar a la gente hispana para poder votar en las elecciones. ¿Ya la registraron a usted o?
Ya.
¿Ya? ¿Y fue en el trabajo o vinieron? ¿Vino alguien a tocar? Ok. Muchas gracias. Y oiga, ¿y usted es ciudadana o? No. ¿Ya la registraron en el trabajo o en un lado?
Bueno, sí, nos dijeron, pero
¿Ya se registró?
pues, yo creo que sí.
¿En el trabajo?
Ajá, sí.
Ok. ¿Usted es ciudadana o no es ciudadana? No es. ¿Ya los han registrado en el trabajo ustedes?
Sí, ya.
¿Ya los registraron?
Ya.
Disculpe, es que no la oigo muy bien por el aire. ¿Ya los registraron?
Sí, ya.
¿Y usted es ciudadana o no es ciudadana?
No.
¿No es?
No.
Venimos con una compañía que se dedica a registrar a la gente hispana para poder votar en las elecciones. ¿Ustedes están registrados?
Nosotros ya votamos, que
¿Ya votan?
sí.
¿Usted es ciudadana o...?
No.
¿Y usted ya está registrado? ¿Se registró en el trabajo o algo así?
No. Sí,
¿Ya se registró en el trabajo? Ok. Oiga, ¿y usted es ciudadana o no es ciudadana?
bueno, no semana estoy.
No. ¿De dónde viene usted?
De Honduras.
¿Usted ya la registraron en el trabajo o aquí han pasado a registrar o...?
Ya.
¿Ya?
Ya.
¿Usted es ciudadana o no es ciudadana? ¿No es? ¿Son ciudadanos o...?
No.
Muchas gracias. Dios los bendiga.
Tú me estás diciendo que si somos ciudadanos, no. Somos ilegales.
Oh.
Pero estamos establecidos en este país y sin nosotros este país no valiera la pena, ¿me entiendes? Porque somos los mejores trabajadores que puede tener Estados Unidos.
According to Migration Policy Institute, approximately 339,000 non-citizens live in Georgia. If the 14% statistic holds true statewide, over 47,000 non-citizens would be registered to vote. For context, Joe Biden won the state of Georgia by just under 12,000 votes in the 2020 election. Based on our findings, the integrity of the 2024 election is in great jeopardy.
So now you tell me if the fix is in. Not only do we have the Democratic nominee wasn't chosen by the people, it was chosen by the elites and the oligarchy of the Democrat Party. Okay, then you have the fact that you flooded this country with all these illegal immigrants. If you say 10, 20 million have already come into this country at 14%, that's almost 3 million votes. Okay, and the numbers don't lie. We're being replaced. We're being replaced so that they can have a permanent administration of nothing but Democrats for the rest of our lives. The fix is in. Pay attention. If you like this video, make sure you subscribe and like and share. Pay attention. Give me the comments and let me know where else should we be looking. There's other legs to this animal. Okay, help me find them. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.